my boundary that I set for myself. And I've learned that a lot of people don't do well with boundaries, or they're not good at sticking to the boundaries, and whatever. And so they don't understand. So when we get to the clips y'all have seen for the reunion, considering that I've had conversation, it's been understood why these questions are being asked, but I really don't care.
Nobody saw this coming. Not like this. For years, she held it together through heartbreak, public embarrassment, whispers behind her back, and a storm that never seemed to calm down. She stayed composed. She chose her words carefully. She protected her peace. She moved like someone who understood that every reaction could become a headline. But now, that version of her is gone. Because this time, it wasn't just shade, it wasn't just reality TV drama, it wasn't even about old wounds being reopened. This time, it felt personal. And when Melody Shari finally spoke up, she didn't hold anything back. The target? Someone many people never expected to see her clash with like this. Kimmi Scott.
Wild, just me and Kimmi. Camera's gone, we just chilling, eating and talking. No problems. None. That's why after that, you then see us at the bachelorette party. No problem. See you at the vow renewal. Got no beef or problems. Matter of fact, at the vow renewal, at the reception part, when I sat at the table, because I had a name tag on my table, Tisha, Marcel, Kimmi, Maurice, they all came and sat at the table. We were all talking. We were talking about the kids and almost being teenagers and all this stuff, having just good, positive conversation. There was no drama being had, just talking and chatting it up. Then of course I left when I felt like a boundary was crossed that I had already shared with production that wouldn't be okay with me.
What started as quiet tension has now exploded into something much bigger. Accusations, hurt feelings, questions about loyalty, and a truth that, depending on who you believe, could change everything fans thought they knew. But here's the twist. This didn't start overnight, because long before the accusations, before the tension reached this boiling point, there was a complicated history between these women, one built on distance, respect, and a fragile understanding that now seems completely shattered. To understand why this moment feels so intense, you have to go back to the early days of Love and Marriage Huntsville, when relationships were still forming and everyone was trying to find their place in a group that was already filled with strong personalities, deep connections, and even deeper secrets. Melody came into the spotlight carrying a lot. She wasn't just building businesses or showing her life. She was fighting to hold together a marriage that was slowly falling apart in front of millions of viewers. And that kind of pressure changes a person.
To be real, I want it to be authentic, because the audience can feel when things are real and when they're not. They can feel it. You can tell, and that's what makes scenes not make sense. Whenever one minute people are about to fight, and then the next week they're all sitting up in a crowd together, bunched up like a bunch of peanuts in a bag. That's when it becomes to the point where we're no longer doing reality TV. And now you are trying to maybe just be actors and actresses.
While everything around her felt chaotic, Kimmi appeared to be different, calm, grounded, someone who didn't jump into every argument or escalate every disagreement. She had her own life, her own relationship, her own priorities, and because of that, she became known as the one who stayed neutral. At least, that's how it looked. Melody and Kimmi were never best friends. They didn't share that kind of deep, personal bond, but there was something like respect there, a quiet understanding. They weren't enemies, they weren't constantly at odds. In a group filled with loud conflicts and shifting alliances, they managed to keep things steady between them. But here's where things get complicated. Because sometimes what looks like peace on the surface is actually something else underneath.
Never, ever. I've never done it. So you want to say a double standard would be me saying, hey, Don't bring social media stuff to me and then I bring social media stuff to you. That's a double standard. I've never told people what not to talk about when it came to me. Never. Now, there was some conversations amongst other folks, but I never said what not to talk about when it came, because I always felt like if I'm gonna do reality TV, I want it to be real.
As time went on, fans started noticing small things, subtle moments, conversations that didn't quite sit right, especially when it came to Kimmi's connection with Letitia Scott and Marcel Scott. Now that's where loyalties started to get questioned, because while Kimmi wasn't openly taking sides, many viewers felt like her energy leaned in a certain direction. And for Melody, who was already dealing with betrayal, heartbreak, and feeling isolated within the group, those small moments began to add up. Still, she didn't say much. She didn't go online, she didn't call anyone out, she handled it quietly, like someone who had already fought too many battles and didn't have the energy for another one. But what nobody expected was that silence didn't mean everything was okay. It just meant the tension was building, and eventually, it had to come out.
I already mentioned she would like for me not to talk about it again. I said, and I'm gonna tell you like I told her. Said, you ain't gotta worry about me talking about it no more. That's it. And I never brought it up since. And if you think about it, the only people that I had the conversation or asked questions with was when the cameras was up filming. Nobody.
The real shift happened when whispers started turning into something more serious. Not just opinions, not just disagreements, but allegations. According to Melody, things were being said behind the scenes, things that didn't match the calm, neutral image Kimmi presented publicly. And these weren't harmless conversations. These were claims that could damage reputations, twist narratives, and change how people viewed her completely. That's when everything changed, because in Melody's world, there's one rule that matters more than anything. If you don't rock with me, just say that. Don't smile in my face and then speak differently when I'm not around. And from her perspective, that's exactly what was happening. But here's the twist. When she finally addressed it, she didn't come in yelling. She didn't come in messy. She came in clear. And sometimes that's even more powerful. She spoke about feeling blindsided, about realizing that someone she never attacked, someone she never disrespected, could be involved in conversations that painted her in a negative light. She questioned why her name was even being brought up in certain situations. And then came the moment that really hit people. She made it clear that some of these alleged statements crossed a line. Not just as a public figure, as a woman, as a mother, as a person trying to rebuild her life after everything she had already gone through. That's when fans started paying closer attention, because this wasn't just drama anymore. This felt deeper. Melody talked about times she showed support, moments where she believed there was mutual respect, even instances where she extended kindness during difficult periods in Kimmi's life. And from her point of view, that energy wasn't returned in the same way. Instead, she felt like her name was being used in ways that didn't reflect the truth. And that kind of betrayal, it cuts differently, especially when it comes from someone you didn't expect. Meanwhile, Kimmi's silence only made things louder, because in situations like this, people start reading between the lines. They start asking questions. Why hasn't she responded? Is she waiting? Is she trying to avoid making things worse? Or is there something she doesn't want to address publicly? And that's where the internet did what it always does. It picked sides. Some people stood firmly with Melody, saying she had every right to speak up if she felt disrespected. Others defended Kimmi, pointing out that there might be more to the story than what's being said on one side. But what made this situation so intense wasn't just the accusations, it was the emotion behind them. Because you could hear it, that frustration, that disappointment, that feeling of, I didn't deserve this. And those emotions don't come from nowhere. They come from a buildup, from moments that seemed small at the time, but eventually created something too heavy to ignore. And now, here we are. Two women who once managed to coexist peacefully are now at the center of a growing conflict that could reshape relationships across the entire group. Because let's be real, nothing in this circle happens in isolation. If Melody and Kimmi are at odds, it affects everything, friendships, alliances, future conversations, even how the rest of the cast moves around each other. And with names like Letitia and Marceau already connected with the situation, the tension isn't staying contained, it's spreading. But what really makes this moment hit harder is the emotional impact behind it all. For Melody, this isn't just about clearing her name, it's about protecting her peace, something she fought hard to rebuild after her past relationship played out so publicly. She's already been through the kind of betrayal that changes how you see people. So when something even slightly similar appears again, it doesn't feel small, it feels triggering. It feels like history repeating itself in a different form, and nobody wants that. For Kimmi, the pressure is just as real, even in silence, because the image she's built over time is now being questioned. The calm, rational presence, the one who doesn't engage in unnecessary drama. If these allegations stick, that image could crack, and once that happens, it's hard to put it back together. Then there's the group dynamic, because trust, it's already fragile in this circle, and situations like this don't just create distance between two people, they create doubt everywhere. Who's really neutral? Who's saying what behind closed doors? Who can actually be trusted? Those questions don't go away easily, and they don't get answered quickly. But here's the part that really makes you think. What if this was always inevitable? What if the tension, the subtle moments, the quiet disagreements, what if they were always leading to this exact moment? Because sometimes relationships don't break suddenly, they crack slowly until one day they finally shatter. And that's what this feels like, a breaking point. Now, the real question is, what happens next? Will Kimmi speak out and give her side of the story? Will there be receipts, explanations, or a completely different version of events? Or will the silence continue, leaving fans to fill in the gaps with their own assumptions? And what about Melody? Because once someone reaches this level of frustration, it's hard to go back to being quiet. It's hard to pretend things are fine. It's hard to rebuild something that now feels broken. So does this end in resolution, or does it turn into something even bigger? Because if there's one thing we've learned, it's this: nothing stays hidden forever. And when the truth starts coming out, whether it's messy, emotional, or unexpected, it has a way of changing everything. So stay watching, because this story, it's far from over.